Welcome to Uncompromised, the podcast where we talk about regenerative agriculture, the economics of farming, and how we can uncompromise the industry and the food that we eat. Today we're going to get into what happened on the farm this past week. Kevin and I visited an old grist mill today, and we got to experience how flour was being made way back in 1849. So we're going to dig into that and discuss what we learned. But before we do, consider liking this video and subscribing to this channel. We're on a mission to restore the soil on our Ohio Christmas tree farm by transitioning to fully regenerative farming practices. We're also bringing chestnuts back to Ohio. But is any of this possible? Do you want to find out? If so, I think you're in the right place. So get subscribed, learn with us, and let's talk about the next generation of farmers in America. So with that, I'm Kyle, and I'm here with Kevin, who's a business partner, and my dad, Scott Anderson, who's the founder of the farm. We were out last week on the podcast, so we skipped a week because it was scorching hot in this barn, and we are actually filming it in the loft of our old barn, and it was too hot for the cameras. I think they were overheating, so we were just kind of out of luck there, and so we couldn't film last week. So here we are, we're giving it another try. It's still kind of hot in here, but I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully it works.
Yeah, I'm trying really hard not to be mesmerized by the rain that's outside right now.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
So we have to go over, we usually start off talking about what happened this past week. So we're going to go over the past 2 weeks because of that. So what are the big things that you want to talk about for the past 2 weeks?
Perhaps the first thing we can talk about was we tested an implement, I guess it was 2 Tuesdays ago.
Yeah.
That we're considering as a replacement mower for the 3 John Deere F735 commercial front deck diesel mowers that we currently have. And we're trying to do that while the mowers are working.
Right.
So that we have plenty of time to think through what's this next generation of mower going to be for us. So the one thing that I was really excited about was there are several, they're all foreign, but there are several manufacturers, 3 in particular, that make an implement for the back of the mower that is like a center mower, and then it has 2 wings on either side, and the wings are flexible. So as you go down a row and you come to a tree, the wings hit the tree and then they flex in, go around the tree, and they flex back out. And ideally what that does is that allows us to be able to mow 1 pass instead of 2 that we do right now, and get in between the trees without doing the in and out and all that stuff that we're currently doing. So the one company, this one's out of Indiana, said that they would bring a similar mower. They didn't have the exact one that I need, but they would bring a similar mower to see how it works out on our farm. So I said, yeah, let's do that. Brought it out, and so what I did was I recognized that my big problem, as we discussed it
Right.
a couple episodes back, my big problem is going to be the seedlings. How does this thing work with seedlings? Big issue. Yeah, because they're just literally pencil thin.
Right.
You guys know how fragile they are. So I put bamboo stakes out, 5/16 bamboo stakes. I put them out there and I did several rows. It took a couple hours to do that. Then I had this brilliant idea afterwards that I was going to put a trial run. Now, of course, afterwards,
Yeah.
I'm going to put a trial run of stakes on the grass out here. And I'm going to try that first just to see how well it does. I put some stakes in really deep. I put some stakes in really shallow. I've had some thicker stakes, some thinner stakes. So I really varied it up. So we got the unit, put it on the back of the L2500, which is a small 27 horsepower Kubota tractor. And it wouldn't even lift it. Now it has a lifting capacity of 1,900 pounds. This thing weighed 1,200 pounds, wouldn't lift it. So there was one thing. I needed to use that mower in particular because that one gets down the rows. It's much narrower,
Yeah,
35,
that tractor.
35-inch wheelbase
Yeah,
on
on that tractor versus.
versus the 4701.
Yeah.
So we had to put it on the 4701. All right, so there's a big disadvantage right there. Put it on the 4701, it lifts it right up. We get it all adjusted. And so we go out there and say, let's do these stakes first, just to make sure that it's going to work. I don't want to kill a seedling unnecessarily.
Yeah.
So we go out there, we get it all set up, go down, and it plows every one of them over.
Just doesn't even budge.
Doesn't even deflect at all. It just plows them over. I said, okay, this is absolutely a no-go. And so he packs up, takes it home, thank him very much, the whole thing. But all three of them are that same design. Two of them have a hydraulic sensor that is a little bit more precise, but the whole idea of staking for, if we put 2,000 trees in the ground, which you plan to do this coming year, 4,000 stakes in the ground at much bigger than 5/16 bamboo, much bigger than that,
Huge
will
expense.
take forever and very expensive. So I decided not to go down that road. I'm not even exploring those anymore.
Well,
So it was good for that reason.
well, the other thing is, what'd you say? The sensor model is 10 grand more?
10 grand, well, the unit's already,
Yeah, 22, 25.
yeah, it's extremely expensive, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then you add on top of that the hydraulic unit,
Yeah.
which doesn't guarantee anything.
Right.
It may not work either. So I'm having to rethink that. So I'm back to either a Kubota F Series. It's a 2690 model, which is essentially the same thing as that we have now, except it doesn't have an offset.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be able to get in there like we're doing right now. There's several mowers on the market. The F Series Kubota, John Deere has a similar mower. Toro has a similar mower, and Grasshopper has a similar mower. Grasshopper has they've got some good reliability ratings and all that kind of good stuff, and they're a lot cheaper than the Kubota. But I'm not overly worried about cheapness. What's the lesser expensive of them? I want the best quality, and I want something that Trudy can use and not have to do a lot of relearning these things. So the F Series Kubota has a steering wheel, which is really nice. The Grasshopper has the zero-turn levers. I think that's going to take a little bit more getting used to, but we can get used to it. It's not a deal breaker.
Right.
But anyway, that's where we are with that. A disappointment, to say the least.
Right. That would have been a significant time saver.
Time saver. We wouldn't have another engine that we're having to worry about, and we can run it on ideally on our L2500.
Well,
but none of that is working.
Yeah, and another big thing that we discussed as a positive is to replace that tractor versus a new lawnmower is like a quarter of the price. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is just insane to say that a tractor is a quarter of the price of a mower.
Yeah. Used, of course.
Right.
So was there an ambassador of the company there with you during the demo?
Yeah.
So did he have any suggestions on why? I mean, wouldn't
Bigger
they know why it was knocking over the stakes?
Yeah, because the one that he brought was used for orchards.
Right. It has a trip rod essentially on it, right?
No, it didn't have any trip. No trip on. That's the hydraulic one.
That's the
has a
hydraulic
trip.
one. Okay.
So it's built to go around apple trees and those kinds of things that are more established.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. What the unit I would get if I were to purchase one from them, and that was a Perfect. That's the name of the company, Perfect, and they're manufactured out of I want to say Belgium. Then there's the Jutec, which is manufactured out of the Netherlands, and then there's Ilmer, which is manufactured out of Italy. All of them operate exactly the same way. They different designs and those kinds of things, but the basic operation is essentially the same. The one from Perfect that I would get is not an orchard mower, it's a vineyard mower. So vineyards are much, they're much smaller. So the unit is lighter, not as heavy duty. The wings are not as heavy, so they're able to, they're more sensitive, but it's not going to be sensitive enough because you're still going to have the same kind of problem. And so it was worth the effort to really help us understand, the pros and cons and those kinds of things.
Maybe they'll have it perfected by the time we get into our 3rd or 4th or 5th iteration of mowing.
I hope so. I hope so. It'd be nice if we could come up with something, but
right. I mean,
so that was one thing that we did. Okay.
Right.
For me, since I'm kind of on the stage, so to speak, the other thing that I did these past couple weeks was started the process of cleaning between rows. So twice a year, we do what's called a tree cleanup. And what that means is I go through with I call it a sickle. Most people think of a sickle as a single blade that has a curve and you're sickling wheat. This isn't the same thing. Same principle. It has a blade on it and you swing it with your arm. So we use a sickle to get down things like mare's tail, stuff that's growing up underneath the tree. But then we're also getting poison ivy that grows right up around the tree. Mulberry, butternut is one that's heavy out there. North Carolina, I forget the last name of this, but it's a particular weed that has the thorns.
Yeah.
That
are
terrible.
Horrible. They're black, so they blend in with everything. So you don't realize it until you go grab it and it just stabs straight through your glove.
So all that kind of stuff. I'm also checking for any dead limbs, and then if I can see it, any double trunks. So that's what, and it takes a long time. And we walk every row, front and back, so that we're looking at both sides of the tree. So right now, out of the 34 sections that we have, and each section roughly has 500 to 600 trees in it. So we got 34 sections, and I've got all of them done now with the exception of 7. And so that's where I ended up today.
Geez.
Yeah. So I'm almost done.
Yeah.
I'm almost done.
So
made good progress, but right in the heat of the summer.
Right.
And it is so hot out there.
So another thing that you're looking for is bagworms.
Bagworms, yeah. So bagworms, a little bit hard to detect right now. They're pretty small.
I've seen.
You saw some good ones?
I saw some good ones.
Were they live though, or were they like dead ones from last year?
Oh, they're live.
Nice and juicy.
They're juicy.
Yeah.
I showed Reagan and her friend some yesterday.
Maddie, yeah.
Oh yeah, they wanted to know, so I said, all right,
let's go look at them.
Let's go squish some things.
Yeah. So Kevin helped out on a couple sections yesterday, and
didn't do much.
But we got, hey, that's 2 more sections that I didn't have to do. So that's a good thing. So like I said, we got 7 sections left. All right, so those are the biggies.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, those are the biggies for me.
Real quick, if you're a coffee drinker and you're looking for a solid brand that supports regenerative farmers, check out 7 Weeks Coffee. It's what we use in our coffee and chestnut hut because they're faith-based, they have a great mission, and their Dominican blend is sourced from regenerative farms. They do not sponsor us, but because we use them in our coffee hut, we have an affiliate link that we can share with you guys. So if you use our discount code ADVENT, you'll get 10% off of your order, or use the link that's in the description below. It's a great way to support our channel and our farm. You get a discount on great coffee and we get a kickback, so it's a win-win.
Got the new generator since our generator went down. So the generator for the coffee hut, we got the new Westinghouse 12,000 watt power inverter.
Inverter. Yep.
Inverter. Got that in, which is massive upgrade for the eardrums.
Oh yeah, boy, that thing
no
is
longer
just,
listening to white noise just drone on for hours from our old school generator.
Which, by the way, that one broke on us, so that's why we had to get a new one. It just kind of died in the middle of a shift, so we had to act quick on that.
Right.
Sure did. But that's been a real blessing.
It's been phenomenal.
Yeah, it's been a real blessing.
Definitely burns less fuel. We've come to realize that.
Yeah, more fuel efficient, much quieter. It's much better design too. Like you were saying that they shifted the position of the main outlet to the front, so there's not a tire blocking it, and you have to like
bend the
bend,
cable.
yeah. So
Yeah,
lots of little
It was
things
a
that
terrible idea.
I know.
I-
It's a bad position.
Right. So and then the coffee hut's been during the week.
Yeah, can I see a little-
We've had some good conversations with some customers and stuff like that. You had a really good one today.
Yeah, I had a young lady today spend about an hour with me, and she was just asking, just very interested in the whole regenerative process, how we're doing it, asked about the farm, where we're headed, how do we plan to get there. She has
Right.
a small couple of acres not far from here, and she offered that up as a place for us to set up if we wanted to. She also wants to establish a storefront there, so there was some interest in that. Her philosophies are very similar to ours.
Yeah.
Faith-based as well, and so it was a wonderful conversation. She's studying to be a nurse practitioner, working hard and trying to do right by her family
Right.
by providing them uncompromised, nutritionally dense, quality food. And she was all over what we were doing. She really liked it, and she heard about us through this podcast, through the shorts.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, the shorts. Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, those get a lot more views.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
But still, it's
yeah, yeah.
Still
then
surprising.
That's
even
good, yeah.
Nicole had mentioned that a friend of hers. So Nicole,
Your
my
daughter,
oldest-
my sister,
Yeah, yeah, that person.
I know.
She was saying that a friend of hers, and I think they're out of Charlotte. I may be wrong where they're out
Yeah.
of, but anyway, they watched the podcast. And
Okay, so I'm assuming that Nicole introduced her to her friend to the
No.
podcast or something.
don't know
I don't
those
know.
details.
It doesn't sound like, so from the text message, it doesn't sound like that, because Nicole, to me, it read that Nicole was surprised, shocked.
Well,
caught off
somehow I
guard
think
by
their algorithms got crossed and it fed
Yeah.
her something from Nicole. I'm sure that's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
it happened. I don't know.
Oh, but that's good.
Oh, yeah, that's still
good.
pretty
It's
cool. I
just-
mean,
it's awesome.
I don't
yeah.
know.
So anyway, those kinds of conversations are really, I think, why we're there.
And
You
that's something, briefly had the conversation an hour or two ago about, I was like, man, should we even be out some of these days? And then it's like, the why.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? It's not about money.
Right.
But at the same time,
It's
you
about
know,
money.
if we're out
It's
there
a
for
balance.
6 hours
Right.
and we don't have a single customer, I mean, we might need to rethink our approach here, because if we can get in front of, 20 people versus 1 or 2,
Right.
That's still more effective. But yeah, I see what you're saying. You got to figure out a balance there.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Balance our why with how we're approaching this and
Yeah.
where we're spending our time and everything like that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, hopefully bears milk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, well, no, before we get
That's
into
not
that.
a segue yet.
Yeah, we got a few more
Sorry.
things to talk about. I feel like I'm going to forget if we don't talk about it now, but we'll
Yeah,
get
go
into
ahead.
it at some point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, other than that, the bulk of my week for the past 2 weeks, because we haven't had any substantial rain,
Right.
has been
Water.
watering
Yeah.
and watering and watering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
You feel like you've said that for the past several podcasts.
yeah, that's, what does Kevin do? He waters.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, but it's a 6-hour job if you're using one of the
Right.
pumps. If you're using another one, that has brought it down to 3 hours.
Right. Which
So-
is,
We were going to save this for after the podcast. We're filming a video right now and we're reviewing a pump. And there's a segment that I want you've spent some time with it this past week, and we might as well just do it now. And that way I can just splice this into the other,
oh, okay, we're going to do
the
my
other
review,
video.
my
So
long-term review.
you've had a week you've been testing a new water pump alongside our Ryobi, which is what we're currently using.
Right.
And this new Milwaukee one is something you found and you've been testing for the past week. So now that you've had some experience with it, do you have any initial thoughts?
Well, so we knew about the Milwaukee when we bought the Ryobi. The difference was we were invested in Ryobi's platform, and Ryobi's pump came with everything you needed to run the pump for about half of what it costs for just the pump on the Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, real quick. So what we're talking about is the pump that is used
The water transfer pump.
to transfer water so that we can water the chestnuts.
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
just so make sure everybody's on the same sheet of music.
Got it. You know, the Ryobi has a lot of great features. It has variable speed. It has everything you need to do the job. But the battery, how quickly you can put the water out is the big thing, right? So, like we said, it took about 6 hours with the Ryobi
That's at the lowest setting.
at the lowest setting.
And we really haven't tried it at the medium setting. And how long those batteries will last, I don't know.
I have tried. It eats up the 6 amp hour battery on the medium setting will completely destroy the battery in about a row.
And about the 6 amp battery in about a row?
In about a row.
Amp hour battery in about a row?
Yep.
Whew.
Now, part of that is one of the benefits to the Milwaukee. The Milwaukee is super easy on, off, on, off, on, off. The on-off switch for the Milwaukee is way easier to use than the push button on the Ryobi. And the Ryobi,
You're
since it
absolutely right.
has the variable speeds, you're also switching between those, and it's a cumbersome system to use
Yeah.
if we're using it like that.
I don't know if that point is even relevant, because on the Ryobi, you're pushing the button one time to turn it on, and then you're using the switch on the watering wand
So
in between, versus the Milwaukee, which you're having to press the button every single time you want to turn it on and off.
right, I'm saying, so same issue. If I use the Milwaukee and I leave the pump running the entire time and I don't shut it off between trees, it lasts about a row and a half.
Okay.
So it's same amount of drain essentially on battery. The Milwaukee does a little bit better. The way that I'm able to make almost the entire field in 2 batteries is by running it for 11 seconds, shutting it off, running it, shutting it off.
Okay.
So if I were using the Ryobi in the same manner, I would, all the time that I save by running it at a higher speed, I would lose by toggling the buttons and trying to get it back to the original speed that I want.
Okay.
So ultimately, I think for the foreseeable future, I want to continue using the Milwaukee to see what the actual longevity of it is. Is it going to last 4 months at this pace?
Mhm.
Yeah, because that's a lot of switch operation.
Tons.
Yeah.
Tons of switch on and offs. I mean, we're talking
What's the warranty on it?
5 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Versus the 3 years on the Milwaukee.
3 years on the Ryobi.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, Ryobi.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah,
So battery lasts a little bit longer, switch is nice, easy to use,
right.
and you're able to do it in 3.5 hours?
3.5 hours. So I'm saving 2.5 hours every.
Yeah, which is a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm saving
And
seven and a half
that's
hours
because
a week
you're saving that time because you're spending less time per tree.
per each tree. So with the Ryobi on the lowest setting, we're spending 21 seconds on each tree.
Yep. And I checked that today. I saw you, and I said, all right, I'm going to time him. And
it's
he
moving.
was at that one tree, then he went to the next tree, and it was about 21 seconds.
Yeah.
And he was gone. So yeah, you do that math.
It's
That's a significant savings.
right. So, and then with the Milwaukee, it's 11 seconds water on the tree. So,
And because, and this is a plug for our principles that we've been using, because our water infiltration is so much better, because of the soil structure and what, the fact that we've got great ground cover on and the whole thing, we're getting wonderful water infiltration.
right.
And so that 11 seconds that you dump a half gallon of water on it, it just sucks it right in the ground.
Right.
That's
And
a wonderful blessing.
4 years ago, we couldn't even entertain that conversation.
Oh yeah.
And the grow tubes help as well, because you're able to focus that right down to the center of the tree.
Right.
Yeah, but if there's not good infiltration, it'll simply run off.
Which it did like last year quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Last year was an issue.
Yeah, because it's almost like the soil is hydrophobic because you can just see it kind of just escape and run
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And then after a while it settles in.
And then it
but
settles in, right.
initially it kind of has that hydrophobic effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
well, that
in
sounds good.
conclusion, you like the Milwaukee. There's a lot of similarities and trade-offs, but ultimately you want to continue to use it and see how
Right.
the longevity will be permanently or to see if it's a permanent solution for us.
So when I first bought it, I was like, this will be a good comparison, and we're going to stay with the Ryobi. That was a foregone conclusion. And after spending a couple days out in the field with it, there's nothing wrong with the Ryobi. The Ryobi is phenomenal,
Yeah, yeah.
especially for the price point.
So it's 3 times the price,
Well,
2.5 times the price of the Ryobi.
I think it was about 2 times, a little, maybe slightly under. It's almost
Slightly,
twice.
yeah,
Almost
okay,
twice.
almost,
The price.
Okay.
almost
All right.
twice the cost.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is, I mean, that's the other side of it.
Right.
Is there's
Oh,
a cost
100%.
factor associated with this.
100%. You are biting the bullet and spending more money. But once again, 7.5 hours
A week.
a week.
Yeah, because we water
You're
twice.
saving.
Sometimes we water 3 times.
And I was to say, past 2 weeks, it's been
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah.
I'm going to predict that the Milwaukee's still going to burn out after a certain amount of time, but I think it'll last probably twice as long as the Ryobi.
I mean, it should. The build quality, at least
At least from the exterior, is a lot better.
exterior,
Well, just the weight differential, you can
weight
tell that
difference.
there's a lot there.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, so that's all good.
substantial.
It's all good.
We should weigh them. I want to see what the weight difference
Well, I
is.
think it says on the box. You can probably look it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, 6 amp hour battery, 6 amp hour battery in the unit too.
True.
I'm curious because the weight between the 6 amp hour battery and the 6 amp hour
I
battery
am a little curious about that. Yeah.
is also substantially different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's
And then we also, another thing we did is we moved the first batch of chicken broilers from the breeding station here in the barn, and we put them out on pasture in the chicken tractor.
Yep.
So that was our
Yep.
one thing we did.
And then you ordered chicks on Monday.
picking them up on Monday.
Yep. Ordered on Monday. So that's for the next iteration.
Right.
Yep.
So this will be interesting. Those broilers just experienced their first rain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, what the heck is this?
Right. I'm
It's too bad. It would be kind of cool to go out there and see how they react
See
to
how
it.
they react
That means
to
we
it.
also have to get wet too.
Yeah.
It stopped already, unfortunately.
Yep. And here very soon we'll be putting out these the chickens that are the egg layers and putting them in with the other guys.
Right.
So that's coming up.
Real fast.
That's coming up on the 8th of August. So. All right.
So just about cover it. Anything else?
No, I think that pretty
I
much
think
hits it.
that's a solid wrap up.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll mention real quick that this podcast is available on Spotify, Rumble, and Apple Podcasts in addition to YouTube. So if you prefer to consume your content on one of those other platforms, you can check the links in the description below and get subscribed over there. I've been on a health journey. I tend to eat healthy and I focus on my food quite a bit. And that's been a pretty long, intricate journey over the past several years. And it's sent me down many, many different rabbit holes. And one of those rabbit holes has led me down the path of understanding where flour comes from and helping me understand and learn how to make my own bread. I don't like baking or cooking or anything, so I try to do it the easiest way possible. But in learning where my ingredients come from and trying to source them as locally as possible, especially staple foods like flour, I bought a bread machine, like a bread maker, a couple years ago to help with that. And after I did that, I was then concerned about the flour that I was buying from the store. And I learned that flour, one aspect of it is that when you mill it, it has a very short shelf life in terms of the nutritional value that's in it. There's a lot of nutrients that are in flour, and it tends to oxidize pretty quickly, especially if it's in a bag on a shelf. And that's just the nature of all flour.
Wow.
And that sent me down a path to try to figure out how to mitigate that. And one way to do that is to mill your own flour in your kitchen. And you can buy things like countertop mills, which is what I did. I bought something called a Mock Mill 100, which is a countertop stone mill. So it uses stones to grind the wheat berries into a flour, and you you do that on demand as you need the flour. Very similar to how and why you would grind your own coffee beans. You do that on demand as you make coffee, so that the moment it's ground and you can brew your coffee, it's as fresh as possible. It's the exact same concept with flour. You're trying to grind it and then bake it all at once, so it's as fresh and nutritionally dense as possible. And so that was something I've been kind of a rabbit hole I've been going down. And as I was trying to search for sources of wheat grains and wheat berries, I was trying to find them locally because you can buy them online pretty easily, which is what I did initially, but I wanted to find something local. And in doing so, you actually came across and told me about Grist Mill here, which is pretty local. It's about 20 minutes from my house in West Mill in Greenville. And so you introduced me to them. We went out there one time and did a little tour during an event they had. And you found out that you could buy the wheat berries from them. And specifically, you ended up buying and going with Einkorn, which is a heirloom berry, I guess.
It's an ancient berry. So it is the oldest known wheat that has been made, that man has propagated over the years.
Yeah.
And so so that's the kind that we ended up getting, and they were willing to sell us bags of, and it's organic, and it's grown on a regenerative farm. So those
not too far from here either.
Yeah, well, it's in Ohio. I'm not sure where it is in Ohio, but both of those things were ticked off as things that we wanted to try to support. And in looking up the information about Einkorn wheat berries, they're just tremendously nutritionally packed with all kinds of goodness, and relatively low in gluten. The gluten structure is different than regular white flour. And of course, as we probably all know, the flour that you get at the supermarket has been highly, not only processed, but the wheat itself has been developed over time to maximize the gluten content in it, so that you get the kind of wonderful stretchiness and those kinds of things that flour gives you. Einkorn flour is not nearly as stretchable, and therefore, you can't use, like, for example, you can't use the same amount of water or whatever solution your milk, whatever you're using. You have to temper that back. And there's several other things that we have to do just to get it to rise a little bit. But anyway, that's where we started going after the Einkorn wheat berries.
Yeah. I mean, and when I was buying my flour from the store, I was trying to buy like whole wheat flour too. And I mean, that's I think a step in the right direction, but there's still all the same properties and all the same processing and lack of, the oxidation happens with whole wheat flour as well. So you end up with the same problem there too.
Well, and if you're getting it already ground, you've already lost so much of your nutrient density.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming all the flour in the grocery store that is already ground is steel ground oats.
I think
probably.
I think it is. Yeah.
Which isn't the best way to grind it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll probably talk about that here in a few minutes, but go ahead with Grist Mill.
So, I reached out to them a couple weeks ago, and we were able to schedule up a tour with them to record for our YouTube channel, which is what we did this morning. So just to give you a little bit of background on what Grist Mill is, it's a historic grist mill in Darke County, Ohio. And they are one of the few operational water-powered grist mills in Ohio. It's a 4-story building, so they have all the original, still in operation machinery that's all powered by a water turbine that is connected through a whole intricate system of ropes and pulleys and pretty much everything.
Belts.
So they have anyone can go up and sign up for a tour. They do private tours. They charge, it's $6 for an adult, $3 for children. It's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Or you can do if you want to do a free tour, they give those out during any private event that they do, and they do several private events throughout the year. And so you get to walk in and actually they show you how the machines work, and they'll explain how the milling process functions and everything like that. So you walk into this 4-story building and there's a gift shop on the first floor.
Beautiful gift shop.
Very well curated.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
Yeah, they have all kinds of things.
Locally sourced stuff, and that's...
Yeah, I wrote down all the stuff they sell, but I can't find it.
So they have this wonderful problem where people walk in and they're like, I make quilts. Would you like to raffle off one of my quilts? I'd give it to you for free. Like that, and all their baked goods. All local people all just come in and say, hey, can I bake goods and put them in your store? And I'm just like, what a nice problem for you guys to have.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are so embraced by the community.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
They were phenomenal.
They sell things like coffee, which happens to be their #1 seller, which I was very surprised.
Is it
by.
really? I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
And then they have obviously they have all kinds of different flours and meals and stuff that you can buy. They sell pottery, which is made by the previous owners, their wives.
They have 3 pottery sources, and they're all local, all older ladies, but yeah.
But they mill a wide variety of flours, right?
Correct.
To include like millet and I don't know what other flours are that are there, but they mill a lot of different things,
including corn too.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's all available for sale. They have baked goods there too. They sell a variety of honey, maple syrups. They have these stainless steel and wood baking utensils. Like they have a whole section there. Jams, sauces, different things like that. So a wide variety of things. And I thought the way it was curated and stuff was really cool, especially how everything is local. It gave me some ideas for
the Christmas
tree
shop.
Just art. Yeah. Well, not just that, but
future.
Yeah. Just ways that we can direct sell to consumers and things.
Yeah.
They, okay. So back to the milling process, they use 3 French burr millstones. Burr is B-U-H-R. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But they have 3 of them where the grain is carefully passed through a very large, stone grinder, and then it mills it into flour. So they rope it up all the way to the top floor, and then in the top floor,
rope the berries all the way up to the top floor.
Back in the day, that's how, because they don't have to wash it anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So they essentially, you're supposed to take it all the way up to the top floor, and then that's where they have a whole machine system up there where they clean it, which they no longer have to do. This is all for tour purposes. Everything is still functional. Everything still runs. In fact, they turn it on and it's powered by that water turbine. So you can physically see everything moving and all the gears turning and stuff. So they could use it if they wanted to.
Wood, right?
Yeah, all wood.
It's all wood.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
the
phenomenal.
Gears.
Yeah.
The gears by the mill. Yeah.
Some of the gears at the 4th floor that make the
those might have been
do
wood.
the cleaning. That's wood.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one on the first floor was cast.
Yeah, those are cast down there because of the pressures.
The lighting up top was not great today.
Yeah. But wow, that's still awesome though. And by cleaning it, what that means is that you just get the berry. There's a lot of chaff in there, right?
Right.
And they just got to get that
Some
chaff
dirt
out
and
of
stuff
there,
like that.
little dirt, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But back in the 1800s, 1849, that's what you had.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see how, because they open everything up so you can see the baskets and everything and how it would move from one cleaning station to another cleaning station. And it's just a phenomenal demonstration.
And they use these belts that have these little trays, these cups on them. And so it just fills 1 cup at a time. In order to transport them to different places, it ends up filling 1 cup at a time as this belt is winding, and then it feeds that to some other machine, and that's how it kind of gets passed here and there. But eventually it also just gravity feeds its way down to the first floor, I mean, I forget exactly what happens, but each floor has a function to it.
Yeah.
And then as it makes its way to the second floor, which is where the milling happens, then it shoots right into the mill, the stone burr. The burrs or the stones themselves have a special pattern on them, which I thought was interesting, that they allow centrifugal force and pressure to move the flour outside of the circle, and then where it gets funneled into another chute and drops down into the first floor where they bag it, which is just really cool how they do that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Amazing, those designs. I mean, people were brilliant back then.
Oh, so we talked a little bit about how much I clearly don't know about technology in our history. I didn't even realize turbines were around back in 1849. I just assumed everything was water wheel back then.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was, I mean, coming up with that whole idea of a water turbine
Right.
is amazing. It's just
Crazy.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of 1849, so this place was built in 1849, which was 12 years before the Civil War.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool to think about. So this place is 177 years old. It took 2 years to build the thing. Meanwhile, I-75 is still under construction and has been for the past 20 years.
Right.
With no end in sight.
So the other thing I found that was really impressive, they have had to do one roof replacement.
Wow. In all that time, in all these
and
years?
one siding replacement.
Yeah, in the entire existence, they've only done, I mean, she said they had some extensive repairs to make to the foundation.
Yeah.
And obviously you have like belts and stuff that need to be maintained and minor things like that. And I don't remember too much, but she did say that the turbine itself that's underwater, they had to kind of refurbish it. They had to bring it up and refurbish it, which is the first time they did that within 100 years.
So the original turbines were wood in 1870 something, I believe, is when they went to cast iron. And then they just pulled them out of like 4 or 5 years ago and had them refurbished.
Yeah.
Which,
so the principle of a turbine, using a turbine, so, everybody kind of gets the principle of a water wheel, where you got water flowing in, it hits these buckets or paddles or whatever, and, that forces the wheel to turn. That's not what we're talking about here. So a turbine, if I remember correctly, is turned this way instead of this way. It's turned this way. And water pressure, so the deeper you go, the greater the water pressure, causes movement, which turns the turbine.
right.
Correct?
So, and the other thing about it is it has flaps that can be opened and closed, and that's how you turn it on and off and everything like that. Which also blew my mind that was something that someone was innovative enough back in those times to think about that.
Because the water source is a creek, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's Greenville Creek, which so it's called a mill race that they channel the water from the creek using a mill race, which is a man-made trench that you dig out, and that water gets diverted from the creek into the mill race, and then that feeds into underneath the building where the turbine is, and that's so they can empty and fill that mill race using a system of levers, I guess, over by where that mill race and creek meet.
So they dammed it up in order to be able to do that.
Yep.
She said the only severe drought and a severe flood is the only time that they're unable to use it, but it's very rare.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
well, I mean, that's interesting too, how, they've been able to use the water from a creek. I mean, it's a big creek.
it's a big creek. I didn't realize it was that big of a creek.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it. I don't know. But that is interesting how that works. Yeah.
So when it was being built during those 2 years of construction, Gabriel Bear, who was the basically kind of the founder, traveled to France to get those stones, and he brought them back. So it was a 2-year process for him to go there, buy the stones, and bring them back. which is probably no small feat
Three of
because
them.
they're 1,000 pounds
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
times 3.
Think about
And they
how you
cost-
transport that.
Yeah, I don't even know how you would transport
Right.
that, but they cost $6,000 for each stone. And she said that
Back
At
in
that
there.
time.
yeah, so she said that it's the equivalent of $250,000 today for each
Per
set.
stone.
So you times that by 3.
Wow.
Right. Isn't that
It's crazy.
that was something that was
that-
hard for me to swallow.
Yeah, that puts some scale there.
Right.
You know, not many people have $250,000 of, you know, sitting around and
Yeah.
oh good, okay. Well, I'm
Yeah,
glad
I don't
they did
know
it.
where that money came from, but there was another.
So he wasn't the original landowner.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
So the original landowner was, I think it was George Adams, General George Adams. So the original property was 333 acres, and the property was gifted to this General George Adams in 1824 as part of a government program where what they would do is they would gift huge volumes of land to highly ranked veterans,
Right.
people like that. That was their form of payment. I guess they didn't
That was
have.
your retirement.
Yeah, that was just how they paid people back then.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it was originally 333 acres, and it had over the years it's since dwindled down to
33, right?
33 acres. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Wow.
it's been sold off here and there, and now it's
Yeah.
only 33 acres.
Wow.
And speaking of being sold off, so in 2021, that's when the current owners sold it to, or sorry, the most recent owners sold it to Darke County Parks. And so they currently own and operate the place now, which has allowed them to, it's allowed them access to those county
Grants
funds and grants and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's how they've been paying for a lot of the maintenance and upkeep for the building,
Right.
repairs.
Foundation work and
Right.
stuff like that. Because that was the big reason that it sold, from what the understanding.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you have any more description of it? Because I've got a couple questions, I guess.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, you know, in terms of Uncompromised and how we benefit from these kind of tours, and what does this do for the audience to help them better understand the value that we're talking about here. So Stone Mill, you know, you mentioned the Mock Mill 100. The concept of stone milling your flour exists today in ways that we could never have imagined before. You have one in your home. I bought one because you bought one, and we use it almost every single day. I make, and we use Einkorn flour, Einkorn berries. And like this morning, I made porridge, which is basically like a cream of wheat. In a matter of just a few seconds, you know, you pop a couple of teaspoons or tablespoons rather of the Einkorn berry, and it literally in seconds, you've got your bowl that looks just like cream of wheat, but it's got some brown in it. And then throw some milk and water in that and some cranberries and throw it in the microwave, and now you're eating something that you just produced. But what's the value? What is it giving us? So when we think about flour really that you get from the store, white flour, it's white for a reason. Because what makes up a wheat germ? Bran, the germ, and the endosperm. So I kind of think about it, if you think about it as an egg, so the shell of an egg is the bran. The yolk of the egg is the germ, and the white of the egg is the endosperm. So the nutritional value is in the shell or the bran and the germ. Those are both taken away when you make white flour.
All you have is the
And
endosperm?
all you have is the endosperm, which has the least amount of nutritional value in it. So the germ has a tremendous amount of minerals and fats, the fatty acids that we need. And of course the bran is the fiber. All that's taken away. So when you're getting white flour, you know, that's why they say when you eat white bread, you're getting nothing. There's no nutritional value in it. It's because it's all gone. And then on top of that, how long has that flour been sitting on the shelf?
Oh,
So
oxidizing, yeah.
it's even getting less value and so forth. So today, you can do things like that in your own kitchen and have very powerful, nutritionally dense foods available to you. That is an example in the highest of how you can uncompromise your food.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's interesting. The whole reason why they, stripped those layers away is to make it more palatable to the consumer, but also to make it more shelf stable. And, it's just business perspectives. And so they took it out for various reasons like that. And then they realized that there is no nutritional value. So their solution to that was to enrich it. And then now you have enriched flour,
which is putting the minerals
artificially,
back into it.
and they're not even putting the right minerals and nutrition back into it. And it doesn't have the same effect because it lacks the fiber. And so that's not how, nutrition has all these components that work together, including the fiber, in order for your body to process it. And when you mess that up, you end up with people that have insensitivities to flour and all these gluten problems, which are very real problems, but they're mainly because of a compromised product. And so, it baffles my mind because I think, another solution is to just go back to the way things used to be. So Kevin, on our drive there, Kevin mentioned that you had asked him, well, what does us touring Bears Mill have to do with our YouTube channel? And I know it has a connection, but in the moment I struggled to answer the question until we were in the middle of the video. And then I realized there's actually two answers to this question. And one of them being that there is an ongoing theme on our channel where we like to go back to the way things used to be, because milling wheat berries on a historical French millstone powered by cast iron water turbines built in 1849, I think, is a great example of how we go back to the way things used to be, like you were just mentioning. And then my other answer is that this channel is called Uncompromised, also like you were just mentioning, because we are trying to uncompromise our food, and us learning how to mill wheat berries into flour is just one of many great ways to uncompromise our food. So yeah, you're exactly right. I think it boils down to those two essential reasons. I mean, and I think that it also gave me a lot of ideas for future videos and avenues that we can go down on us learning the uncompromised process and then sharing it out for other people to understand and maybe learn something out of it as well.
Yeah, I think one of the key lessons though is that in today's environment, we often think, and like Bears Mill is a perfect example, we see that and we hear what they're doing, and it's hard to make the connections. Okay, so that's how it was done years ago. Why is that good for us today? And making those connections, I think, is part of what we can do.
Yeah.
And that's where there's a lot of cool technology, and it's not magical stuff, but the supply chain and the distribution processes are such today that they make it affordable to be able to buy things like the Mock Mill 100. Mm-hmm. Now there's many different, we're not pushing Mock Mill 100, but there are many different mills that are out there, and this is a stone mill. It's literally two stones, and so the point is, you can do these things, a lot of these things today, if you take a little bit of time and look around.
Right.
Yeah, because the capabilities are there for the most part. They really are.
And while we were on that, one thing we forgot to mention is that there are multiple ways of milling berries, wheat berries into flour. And one way is a stone method that we've been talking about. This is, I think, the best method that I've come across, because it's a low temperature, cool way to grind the berries into flour without overheating it, and then because the heat also helps to further oxidize it and break down those nutritional content. So it's a cool way to do it. But also there's the other method that's very popular, is a steel roller mill. which they actually had 3 of those on site, very old school steel roller mills that are still functional, but they don't use them because obviously they preferred to switch over to the stones because that's just a superior way to do it. But I know that the steel roller mills are another popular way to do it. But the downside to those is that in the process of milling, they heat the flour up to a much higher temperature than you would if you were to do it via a stone.
And it is a compression.
Mm-hmm.
So as
Not a
opposed
grind.
to a grind, it's a compression. And so, at the microscopic level, a lot of things, like I said, heat is a response, is a frictional response to that. And there's a lot of negativities there. When we were this was in May, at the Bushel and a Peck, which is a small store not too far, just down the road from us, they had a vendor there that has another process that they use. And they gave us their business card and welcomed us to come and do a visit. We might want to do that.
Yeah.
Their process, and they had a name for it. It's not compression and it's not stone milling, but it is it is some kind of thing that they do that's different than those two. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the details behind it. But my point is, there is yet a third way of processing flour or wheat berries that allow you to get the kinds of advantages that we're seeing with stone.
Yeah, that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, and they claim that it even has, better nutritional values than stone ground. I'm not sure how that works, but again, that would be worth our time, I think, to at least look into that.
Yeah.
And
so
they're up in St. Paris, by the way. They're out of St. Paris, so that's not far from about an hour or something.
Is that like north?
It's north. I don't know exactly where. Northwest, something like that, from where we're at.
Okay.
So, one of the things that's been in some of the podcasts that I'm listening to and some of the books that we are listening to is, I think, comes into play in this conversation, and that's where are you putting your food dollars? And the more we learn about this and travel down this path, one of the other things that we've talked about is how do we get people to come towards our company, towards regenerative agriculture, and have these conversations and everything like that. And part of it is knowing where we're investing our food dollars, and doing these trips and everything like that helps us understand and get the word out in a different way of how you can spend your food dollars to make a positive impact and maybe reduce some of that gravitational pull from industrial farming.
Yeah. Well, I think for the consumer, an obvious question that I would have is, well, what's the price? How expensive are wheat berries, and what do you get? What's the equivalent of a cup of flour?
Yeah.
And so, like, I pay $3.50 a pound, and you got 20-pound bag, I got a 20-pound bag. That'll last me the first 20-pound bag lasted me 4 months. And so, but I was making bread.
Yeah, that was also during the Thanksgiving, like Christmas season, where Mom was baking a lot. Right?
No, it was after, so I wasn't allowed to open it until Christmas. So we didn't get to enjoy it until...
Didn't you bake stuff during the Christmas
No,
with it? No? Okay.
No, I didn't. I didn't. No, because I got some flour from you, but that was to bake some bread.
Okay.
So what I've found, and you tell me what you're finding, but a half a cup of wheat berries I can grind and make the equivalent of 1 cup of flour. And so that gives you a sense. So a half a cup, I haven't weighed it, so I don't know how many half cups you're going to get, or cups of flour equivalents you're going to get out of a bag of 20 pounds. But that's a lot of berries.
Wait, you said 1 cup
of flour
gives you 1.5?
No, a half cup of wheat berries will give
gives
me
you
a
one
full cup,
Okay, yeah.
or 96 grams. It gives me 96 grams.
Okay, I think that's about what I'm getting to.
Yeah, yeah, it should be, because I put it on the number 1 setting. There's 10 different settings on it, and
Okay.
I use the 10th setting for,
I think the numbers are arbitrary though.
well, once you get it set fine-tuned, it is probably arbitrary, but it's incrementally 10. There's 10 settings
Right.
that you can set it on, and the coarsest setting is what I use to make the porridge, or cream of wheat, and so that's pretty coarse, and whereas, and Einkorn it's a nutty flavor, and if you're gluten sensitive, it's a great flour to use, because it helps for those who are gluten sensitive. Now, I think it's very important to say that if you have celiac, that's not the flour for you. It's not celiac proof. But if you're gluten sensitive, it's going to help you there. And so there's a distinction. But look into it, and see what you think. It's a great way to help get those vitamins and nutrients and things like that into our bodies that we ordinarily wouldn't have. And the nutrient scale is pretty significant on the einkorn berry.
Yeah.
I want to try some millet. I want to do a little bit with millet, and probably do a little corn. I wouldn't mind doing some corn and making some cornbread or something like that.
Yeah, I want to try corn too. The problem is it's
Organic.
organic. Like
Yeah,
right.
that I think the corn, she said, is the only one that's not organic.
organic.
Everything else is organic.
Right.
Oh, is that right? Everything else was organic?
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's what.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what she said.
So the corn's going to be a challenge.
Right.
But I would like to try that with some organic corn, if we could somehow figure that out.
Yeah. We asked her about chestnut flour.
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What'd she say?
Never done it.
Yeah,
Never done it.
I asked her. I told her about our chestnut plantation, and I told her that back in the day, chestnuts used to be used in lieu of flour and rice. It was a very popular use of chestnuts, and we were interested in milling some chestnuts and using that for flour for baked goods and stuff. And so I asked her if she's ever had experience using a chestnut in the mills, and she said she's never been asked that before, that she has no idea, which makes sense. But
I wonder what part of the chestnut is used. Is it the meat?
I would imagine.
I would assume, yeah, as opposed to the shell.
But I also don't know how you would
Yeah, because it's
grind
softer,
it into flour, though.
unless you dry it. I bet if you put it in dryer,
Yeah.
and then you'd have to beat it down.
Yeah.
You'd have to beat it down to get it to where it could go into a mill.
Yeah.
But that'd be worth doing. I think that would be pretty
I
cool.
definitely think we should try that.
Oh,
Yeah,
we'll definitely
try
try
to
it.
figure
We'll
something
definitely
out.
try that.
We'll mess it up a good few times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Break our mills.
Yeah.
So to close the loop on something we alluded to earlier, we were talking about, she was mentioning how they put on events throughout the year. And naturally, as we were having this conversation, I asked her how she markets those events to get the word out. I was just curious. And so she was telling me that because they're part of Darke County now, that they're able to, they have radio stations, and they have a Darke County newsletter that they're able to utilize and get the word out in that way, which is something that we obviously don't have access to. But and then as well as like Facebook and just word of mouth is also big. So we do have those aspects, but I didn't really learn anything new there other than that they have avenues that we don't have access to. But
Okay.
anyways, back to my original point, the events that they put on, Kevin asked her or mentioned that we have a coffee and chestnut hut, and was trying to get in and see if we can attend some of those events that they have, because I feel like that is a perfect market alignment for us and them.
100%.
Especially the way that she was describing the events that they do.
The
and
events, the
cool
people
things
that
they-
come out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you saw the event that
Right.
we had gone to. It was great.
Which, I mean, if we could set
The
up something like
vendors,
that would be
yeah.
perfect. She thought it was a really cool idea. She wasn't sure because like I said before, the coffee that they sell in their gift shop is the #1 selling thing that they have in there. And so she doesn't know if that would take away sales from her coffee. I don't think it would. I mean, it's a valid point, but I don't think
No.
it would, because we're making lattes and we're not, I don't know. I feel like there's some sort of way that we can work together on that, but that's going to require a little bit more thought. But
Yeah, definitely a conversation worth
yeah,
re-attacking.
Yeah. Well, good. It sounds like that was a very profitable time
It was
spent.
Yeah, it was.
Good.
yeah, learned a lot. She mentioned something called a SPOOM, which is, I don't know what it's an acronym for, but it's some sort of organization for mills. It's a national thing, so they actually have a list, a database of every mill, not just flour mills. We're
Historic
talking,
mills.
yeah,
Specifically
historic mills. I
horse.
think you're right.
It's
But we're talking like
historic.
sawmills, grain mills, all kinds of mills, and they have a whole database of mills, and they broke it down by state. So on their website, you can go by state, and I went to Ohio to look at a list of all the historical mills in Ohio, and it is long. But if you can break it down, there's only a handful of grain mills in Ohio that are still operational. So that list dwindles down quite a bit. And so I was telling Kevin that I kind of want to quit my job and go and do a road trip around Ohio and do video tours of all these historical mills and just do a whole series on it. So
I had a different suggestion.
yeah,
That's try and set it up so we can do it January, February, and keep your job for now.
yeah, maybe I can take a week off in January, February and do a road trip and knock them all out.
That would be exciting.
cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Plus,
Well-
you'd get an idea of what questions to have, and
Yeah.
Well, it's like
Like-
I don't know if you've ever seen drive-ins, diners
Yeah.
and dives,
Right.
whatever that show was called that was on TV. It'd be similar to that, except for instead of diners, it's just old
old
historic
mills.
mills.
yeah.
And we do a little series like that. I think
Yeah.
that would be cool. That would be fun to do.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you are interested in that, go ahead and let me know in the comments below and give me some ideas on how we can do that. Otherwise, get subscribed, like the video. That really helps us out. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.
All right.